I am Chien Wang. I'm Senior Research Scientist of the Earth and Atmosphere and the Planetary Sciences Department of MIT. And I'm also with the Center of Global Change Science and a joint program on the science and the policy of global change. Generally speaking, my interest is trying to understand what is the influence of a human on the natural system instead to our environment and also climate. Specifically in recent years, my interest has been focused on aerosol and related tropospheric chemistry, which also produce ozone as another pollutant. Both will threat human health and also both are very important in a climate system. I guess I call myself a modeler because most of my research involved use a computer model. I think it's the model represents our abstract interpretation of the process we observe. And these are mostly mathematical equations and some empirical formula. But very unfortunately for atmosphere, our equation is just too complicated to solve analytically. So it's very convenient to use a computer to help us to solve these equations. So my research involved use these so-called computer models that describe part of a climate system or the whole climate system, and then we put it into the computer and try to help us to understand what's really going on in there. And a lot of people use a model to also do a forecast or projection. My use of a model mainly help me and to understand the process. So one of my research is about anthropogenic aerosol, mostly these absorbing ones we call sometimes black carbon or soot. So these are the aerosol very unique. It's not just scatter the light, sunlight, but also absorb sunlight. So it's rather unique compared to most aerosols we studied before. That's mostly scattering aerosol or the cooling aerosol. So this black carbon can heating and cooling, so doing both. Traditionally, people think aerosol as yet another climate forcer like a CO2, but serving the opposite sign because they are reflecting sunlight, so by cooling the Earth system. So the point of view is trying to take this as a factor causing change in the global energy budget. So it causes a little deficit, maybe in the opposite to the CO2. That has been traditional view on the aerosol's role in the climate system. But aerosol actually are very short-lived, rather a week so that's why they're not uniformly distributed. They're overly concentrated over pollutant center and the land. So they're not as well mixed as a CO2. And we recently our work along with other colleagues and review aerosol's role are more instead of just causing surface air temperature change, but also on the circulation modification and causing the large scale change of a cloud. And on the other hand, aerosol is one of the fundamental reasons why we have a cloud, because all the cloud particles actually formed on surface of aerosols through one way or another. So we think because the aerosol form a cloud, so if a human change aerosol construction or composition or concentration in the air, so they might change the cloud as well. Cloud constantly cover more than half of our space. So cloud serve a much more important role than aerosol itself directly. So in past some decades, people we start realize this so-called indirect connection from aerosol to cloud, then to the radiation to the climate system. So unfortunately, this is a very, very difficult challenge. That's yeah, recently we shift our emphasis mostly to understand the aerosol and the cloud interaction and how they going to affect climate system.